Alright, time for another Slay the Spire run. Let's see, last time, first off, there was a bunch of patches, and let's see, I can use this interface, blah 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 blah. Almost all the patches are for Ironclad. They changed some cards, it looks like a few things. Wraithform is the only card that was changed for Silent, which is who I plan to play today since the last run was Ironclad. And the Silent change is just to Wraithform, a card I never picked, and now it provides intangible for 3 or 4 turns. I'd show you the card, but actually they changed. First off, I like the new interface here, but they changed it so that Wraithform. Where is it? Is it not showing up? It might just be because it doesn't know the rarity. Because yeah, so they like. I've encountered this card before somehow. It doesn't show up here, but that's what it does. I'm told. I haven't played in a few days. It's been a little while. I think what was our last run was Ironclad. So I played one daily in the past week or so. So the last run was Ironclad. Had some nice moments. It really just shows what I was talking about, where it's not about your relics, even your energy relics, although we did get Lantern early. It was really about like Demon Form and Reaper for sustain and hallway fights, and then really just the power of what we were doing, which was Feel No Pains, True Grits, just cards that let us sit around and wait and let Demon Form tick up and then, you know, win. And then the power of Corruption even without Dead Branch. I think I showed that off nicely. Corruption, by the way, the value of Corruption goes way up when you don't have energy. The more energy you have, the less you need a card like this, but all the abilities, Corruption is, I guess, comparable to Bullet Time. Obviously, they're not exactly the same. They're very different, in fact, but they work similarly in that they're expensive powers that let you do more, you know, play a lot of cards in a turn, and you can mitigate their downsides. You really, especially when you're on 3 energy, but in general, to beat Ascension 15, you want to be doing unfair things. So sometimes, you know, like there's lots of ways to cheat on energy. When I say cheat, I mean like get more energy than you normally would. Even something as simple as like Necronomicon is a favorite of people, but you know, playing a 2 power or 2 energy effect twice is a big deal. You know, you get that second effect for free. Playing your skills for no cost is a big deal, especially if they already exhausted. All those sorts of things, that's really what does it for you. And we didn't even really need some of these other things. In fact, the Bottle Tornado pick I made, where I Bottle Tornado my Corruption, which I didn't want in my opening hand, might have actually hurt the run, but we got there anyway. Alright, so I want to do a silent run on Ascension 15. Oh, and for the record, I just showed that I hadn't been playing since, but I'm not going to win every run, so when I inevitably lose a run, I'm going to record it and show, you know, show a loss when it happens. And if it's like a really short, you know, if I lose to like Goblin Knob in the floor 1, I'll probably just keep going and do another run. So, clicked out of the screen. Let's see what our first boss is. Oh, good. Hexaghost, the hardest. Well, yeah, debatably, Slime Boss, the new and improved Slime Boss, is in fact the actual hardest Act 1 boss for Silent, but Hexaghost is pretty challenging. So we got max hit points plus 6. Not a big fan of max hit points. Lose all gold. I'm not a fan of losing all my gold, and I don't like hit points. And then choose a card. You know, I'm almost tempted to take choose a card. I rate max hit points that lowly, but there's some. Choosing a card, like I'm going to get to choose cards if I want cards. I don't know how valuable it is to take that early. Let's see. So if we take this route, we get the fire before the elite, which is certainly nice. 2 question marks in addition, and then we get another elite, another fire, and thing at the end. I could, of course, take this. I get 3 elites with this path versus 2 elites here. Let's see, one, 2. Would I rather have the additional elite or Does give me more money for the shop. But Hexaghost, so I think I mentioned this in... Did we have I can't remember if I had Hexaghost in my first Silent run, but there's no reason to heal versus Hexaghost. Generally speaking, like, you want to being at half health is fine. We're taking that option. I think I'm going to go... So I can avoid this fight. I can't really avoid it because there's a fire behind it. Man, 2 elites or 3 elites? The eternal question of do I want to risk it? If this was the Guardian and I just knew I could beat it with whatever, I would go 3 elites, but I'm kind of tempted to go just 2. You know what? Screw it. I was talking about how I'm not going to win every run. Let's having this before the elite though. Yeah, so I think this is the best path. There's something to be said for this path, but so you actually don't want 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't know that. I guess you get to choose here, but it's not great to take a ton of early fights because they get harder after your first 3. So you can really screw yourself. You get like even before your first elite fight if you take a million of the basic fights. You know, the whatever these are. You know, regular enemy fights. You end up fighting the tough compositions of these, which you'd probably rather have question marks than this. So we get 1, 2, 3 normal fights this way. We get this. We get potential other upgrades or bonuses. I'm gonna go that way. All right. I'm reasonably happy with that choice. I'll probably end up regretting it, but whatever. Ugh. Where was my weakness? Oh, come on. That's just that's just unfortunate. The way this is panning out for me is not great. I really need... Oh, come on. Come on, strikes. Where are you? Okay. Oh, got a poison potion. It's okay. Alright, so Riddle with Holes is like a terrible early attack. Choke, you really need a lot of energy or a bullet time to make something like Choke shine. It's not actually that bad, but you need those sorts of things. Some sort of cycle deck. It's not the type of early attack you want. We've established Deadly Poison is just very solid. It's going to be great versus Hexaghost. Of the bosses, Poison's very good versus the bosses that aren't slime boss. It's another reason why slime boss is so challenging. Let's see. So if I Deadly Poison and strike this, it dies. Is that right? 5 and 6. Yeah. All right. So it's better. I could have just block the whole thing, or tried to block the whole thing. We're going to take damage either way, and getting an enemy out. Definitely what you want to be doing. Alright. Ancient Potion doesn't do much. Well, the more deadly poisons, the better, right? There's some synergy there. So, Poison Stab, we've talked about how bad it is. It's either Deadly Poison or Dagger Throw. I'm actually unsure. There's merit to both. Dagger Throw keeps us more open for our deck type. It's useful to be able to draw and discard, and get to your better cards faster. It's better versus Goblin Knob because it doesn't, enrage him or whatever. It's worse. It's actually good for even the burns because you can pick them up and throw them out. In the interest, I do think we're going to want Deadly Poisons versus Hexaghost more. And of the enemies we're fighting, Deadly Poison... Yeah, I'm just going to take Deadly Poison. I think it's a little bit stronger now than Dagger Throw, even though this is good. I would take... I think it's close. So here's the first option we have, and I don't like taking this at all. A a random relic. Like, you're probably going to not get a super impactful relic, and then you're just going to be really... It can take 7-8 tries and like 50 hit points to get something, so no thank you. Alright, remove, transform, and upgrade. So we can't remove Ascender's Bane. We have a number of cards we want to upgrade here. 3 good upgrades, and removing a strike is whatever early. I've talked about how I'm not crazy about removing early strikes and why I'm not in my earlier video. Go ahead back and watch that, but you're hurting yourself, and then removing defends, like later on in the game, you're going to want your defends. They're very powerful. Alright, so 3 blocks is 15. I can strike this and deadly poison it. That doesn't get there, so I think I just want to defend. Oh, okay. Well, that's how we're gonna play it, huh? So 8 and 5. Yeah. Again, there's no reason to take damage when you don't have to. These guys are gonna do their goofy little. So it's 5. Alright, so footwork is just very solid. It's good in a poison deck. We've already... I hate to draft like a similar type deck, but this is just what we've been offered. I don't like cards like acrobatics before I get enough energy for them. The more energy you have... So card draw and energy are sort of... they're pulling you in different directions. So the more energy you have, the more cards you're able to play, the more valuable card draw becomes. And the less energy you have, the less you're able to even play your starting hand. And so the more valuable something like card selection, like prepared, is better. Or, not counting Goblin Knob, which I feel like I'm always, sucks to have a lot of skills and fight Goblin Knob and he does a million damage to you. But ignoring that, this is a better early card because it lets me figure out what I want in my hand. I get to cycle through my cards and play the best ones, and this is much better later on. That's why I usually take it after Act 2 and Act 3, where I've got 4 energy. I can use 1 energy on this and find critical cards or combo pieces or even something like a concentrate and end up energy in the exchange. And then, powers are just... Something like footwork's always very solid. I'm not going to upgrade footwork right away because we really want damage early, and upgrading, let's see what we get. Alright, this fight isn't too bad. This is definitely the easiest, even if you're poison based. Let's see. I think you, on average, take the least amount of damage from this particular fight. Unfortunate. So, let's see. Overall strategy here. I think this floor is going pretty well. We're going to hit, I guess we get 2 question marks this way and 2 fights this way. I'll probably take the more question mark route. Generally speaking, once you've got cards that are good enough, and in case these are good enough to beat the boss, you don't need a ton. Question marks are just more valuable because you can hit positive events, and fights are just going to give you a single card, which, big deal. Especially a silent where you're not regenerate. Like, if I have a strong deck and 50 hit points, I don't mind taking some fights as Ironclad because I can, if I'm doing well, I can heal from them, but it's not really an option with... I suppose it's not really an option with silent. Unless you have bandages or some other way to... Alright, only need one more strike to finish this one off. Unfortunate pairing of, Alright, well... I think, actually, yeah. Much as I hate to throw away damage, better to just not take the damage, even though I lose out on a whole deadly poison. If I can just block enough here, it will have made no difference. Yeah. So I've already got 10 block. Alright. Alright, Snecko Skull. Well, this is fantastic. Not only does it make Noxious Fumes insane, we've got 2 poison cards. This is like... this is a common relic, and I just snatch this up, even if I'm a Shiv deck, on the hope of getting an Envenom. You know, I just think it's super powerful, and it's so cheap in shops. One of the better cards. Alright, so we've got Quick Slash, Leg Sweep, Backstab. So, I really do like Backstab a lot. We've got an Elite coming up. As someone pointed out to me in one of my previous videos, by the way, so you can see this band is like blue. This is the uncommon, gray is common, and the gold, which I'd already noticed, like the gold has a totally different looking frame, is the rare. So these are both uncommon. They're both very good. I'm actually not sure between Leg Sweep and I think so. We should be able to beat the boss either way, but Backstab's going to be way better versus Goblin Knob, which might be enough reason to take him. Leg Sweep gives us a second source of weakness, however, which is fantastic versus the boss, and also still good versus Goblin Knob, and just, I think, a better card in general. You really want one of these in your deck, and you don't know if you're, when you're going to be offered one. So I think I'm going to actually take the Leg Sweep, even though I wouldn't fault someone for taking Backstab. It's still great in a poison deck. I'm just a big fan of the card in every deck. Alright, well, I guess... Actually, do I even want 5 hit points? Healing 24 is not bad. It's gonna... I think I do. Like I said, I just don't value max hit point that much. I'll take the heal. Ancient T-Set's solid. It's not spectacular. I thought I got... Whenever you enter a rest site, the next combat... Oh, that wasn't a rest site. It was a question mark. Alright, so... Man, we really wanted... Didn't want to have to use that, but I really don't want this guy to run away and have me... Let's see, so it's 11... Took a little more damage than I wanted, but... Alright. Well, we've got... Our next option is Bouncing Flask, which is super strong with Snecko Skull. Cloak and Dagger, which is actually still really good. I almost want it. And Piercing Wail, which is good versus the boss, but when you have enough damage, it's not a huge concern. I mean, if I didn't have Snecko Skull, I might quite honestly take Cloak and Dagger, but I just took a defensive card that's a skill. I'm going to take this card. This card is just very good. We're Poison deck. We're doing it again. Again, something like Weakness doesn't really affect us. It's the power of poison. So 5. This is going to do 1,000,000 and split him. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Having these at 30 isn't the best, but... Kill that next turn, weakness this one. Of course, this is the one that's... come on. How about you apply a status effect for me? One time. Alright. And this is going to be enough to kill it. Alright, that's not too bad. Didn't take too much damage on one of the, I think, the harder hallway fights. Alright, so here's a great example of where I fall on, so heal hook, even with a bunch of weakness, we don't need like 5 random damage. That's not how we're killing things. We're killing things with big poison damage. And if we're applying weak, we can apply poison. And if we can't apply, if we can apply poison, we can kill them. So versus artifact or something, this doesn't help us. This is a bigger weakness. What we are going to struggle with poison, generally speaking, is area damage, which is why we're going to take Dagger Spray here. It's a solid card. It gives you game against all the fights that poison's bad at, where you have like more weaker enemies that do high damage. A lot of the boss fights in Act 2 this is good against. And again, this is good. I mean, I think Flying Knee is good, but it's not as useful in a poison style deck. So, all right, well, we got the other boss that's easiest for us. Not having to fight Goblin Knob is nice. Yeah. Lagavulin not going to be too challenging with 17 poison stacks before he even wakes up. Hopefully not too challenging. And just like before, we don't have to worry about his weak. You really, if you were watching the turn where I leg sweeped instead of did the other thing, Duvu Doll. One of the nice things about Dagger Spray is now we have, not only does it do great area damage and it's an 8 damage attack even before you upgrade it, but stacks nicely with Duvu Doll. Wow, we're really just getting... They're throwing the poison deck at us. I like defensive cards. This is too good with the amount of poison we have to pass up. So we have fires. We have plenty of stuff to upgrade, so I'm going to take the fire route. So we already upgraded one deadly poison. There's some merit to upgrading Dagger Spray, and Catalyst, I suppose. But Catalyst, if we get a lot of poison on them, we don't need this, early on. I'd like to upgrade this, if I get if I'm fighting the champ in Act 2. You don't need this to be upgraded right away. It's going to be good. It's either Bouncing Flask, Footwork, or Dagger Spray. And like I said, there's something to be said for taking cards like this and upgrading them early. Cards that help you, that help what your deck is weak against. It's fine to draft a well-rounded deck. I don't like drafting strict archetypes. I mean, obviously, I'm in a poison archetype where I'm taking defends and poisons. That's my plan to win. But it doesn't mean I don't want strong cards that synergize, that don't necessarily synergize exactly with what I'm doing, but make up for the areas where my deck is weak, so that I can get through those fights without too much problem. I'm gonna do Bouncing Flask because, especially with Snecko Skull, an extra bounce is a big difference. It's not just an upgrade here; it's an upgrade, it's a double upgrade. So one more bounce is one more Snecko Skull activation. So it's gonna do more than the Deadly Poison upgrade will get me. So it's actually applying 4 poison an additional time. So it's, it goes from good to better. And I'm not in a rush to upgrade this Deadly Poison here. It just isn't going to make a big difference, especially with Snecko Skull. So this will probably go unupgraded for the entire run unless I run out of quality cards. But I want Footwork and Dagger Spray are my next 2 things, depending on whether I need more help offensively or defensively. All right, so wow. So we've got Waffle, which is interesting. I like this card. If I were more damaged, and this boss, it's not a huge benefit. We've got Deep Breath. Took that last time. It's, still very solid. Bunch of mediocre whatever cards, and then a backflip and an after image. This is not a classic after image deck, but after image is just very strong, and even with, having all your cards gain you extra block, I'm gonna take, if I find them, the Cloak and Daggers. I think they're still excellent in this build. I really do think I want the after image and possibly the backflip, although there's some merit to taking a block potion and just sandbagging. I have the weak potion and the ancient artifact. We shouldn't have a problem versus this boss. So I think block potion's probably unnecessary. So after image, yeah, something like Ninja Scroll. I've got Duvu Dal. It would be good, but it's not necessary. I don't know. I know that I want to spend all the money on 3 extra shivs, and then it's like barely better than a backstab, and backstab doesn't clog your hand with a bunch of cards in case you get like a bag of preparation, relic, etc. Don't like this. If I was hurting for hit points, I would definitely take Lee's Waffle, but I think backflip and after image, I can afford both of them. They're both quite good. Deep breath's nice and all, not as good as these options. I think backflip's just super strong, and I never seem to see it on these runs for some reason. And then we're gonna upgrade. I don't like upgrading after image a whole bunch, actually, which I know some players are into it because having it innate's nice, but oftentimes I want to set up other powers on turn one. I don't like powers clogging my hand early on in a fight where I might want to rush down an enemy, even though this isn't that type of deck. We could still be, if we get enough good synergies, we could transition into strength. There's nothing wrong with splitting yourself in between, even though we're kind of just unsure if I want footwork, leg sweep, dagger spray. I don't like upgrading something like like when you have something like footwork, right, which is going to give a bonus to all your defensive powers, you would never want to upgrade like a backflip. Having the extra weak on leg sweep is actually kind of nice, considering that. I think footwork is going to be, footwork, dagger spray. We've got a pretty solid deck already. We've had some good luck this run. We don't need that many more cards, so that's when I like getting my powers set. So, and I've got the Ancient Tea set to just do a million things. So if I'm gonna footwork, deadly poison, leg sweep, and I think strike, there's no reason to backflip into more cards when I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the reason I'm leg sweeping is I want to get the weakness for his first attack on him. So yeah, it's cutting out a huge amount of damage here. And deadly poison, neutralize. Definitely going to defend. The question is, do I want a catalyst and just double his poison right now, or save it for later? Like one more cycle through and I'll have most likely Bouncing Flask, and I'll get a lot more effect out of this catalyst. I think I'm going to wait. I think it's fine. I take a little bit of damage here. We weren't trying to perfect this boss. That's perfectly okay. By the way, it might have actually been correct to just catalyst there. I'm not that confident with although now our catalyst is going to be insane when we run up to it. I'll take 1 damage to do a million poison, that's fine. I think that's an okay trade-off. Well, I guess I should have catalyst early, because I certainly never got to catalyst meaningfully late. But, yeah. Piece of cake. See you, Hexaghost. So here we go. So we've got bullet time. I was talking about this one earlier. Man, I wish you could see your relic rewards first, because I might actually take bullet time if I knew I was not getting an energy relic. But since we don't have any card draw, and it's, well, we do have backflip. I don't have a lot of card draw. I don't love bullet time. I think everyone knows I'm going to go with burst. I think Tools of the Trade is great. I think all of these would be good additions to the deck, but burst is obviously very synergistic with what we're doing. And the downside to burst, I think this is what people don't realize, is like most of the time when burst is bad, it's just an extra defend, which is fine. And when it's good, it's 2 catalysts, 2 bouncing flashes, and the boss dies on turn 2. That's the power of burst. So this is just an excellent card. I almost always want these in my deck. Most of your best cards are skills. Even if you're a Shiv deck, this is going to be 2 or 3 cloaking daggers. It's going to be more of whatever you're doing should be skill based. You're not trying to win with basic strikes, and most of the attacks, like it doesn't synergize well with like dash or predator, but those generally make up a small part of your deck. So, all right, burst it is. Hopefully we get an energy relic, and we get the best energy relic, Sozu. Okay, I mean, ectoplasm's okay. I don't like ectoplasm as much Act 2 as I do Act 3, or Act 1 as I do Act 2. Oh, here's the champ. So we get to show off this guy. Definitely the hardest Act 2 boss. Not the hardest Act 2 boss when you're poison. I think it's more challenging to fight the other guy. The Collector, I think. Bronze Automaton is just generally the easiest no matter what your deck is. It's rare for Bronze Automaton not to be the easiest regardless of what you're doing. So we've got early store here that I don't think all that interested in. But there's no late store. Let's see. So what are my store options? There's a store here. So I can go here, get 1, 2, 3... let's see, get 1, 2, 3. I can avoid all elites if I want, which isn't bad. Really, I'm just looking to pick up something like a Malaise. I think would probably be fine versus almost any elite, but we'd really like... I think I'll probably take this path with 1 elite, a lot of campfires, and a store here, and then I don't know that I want to go to this store all that badly. I'd rather skip a fight and get an extra question mark in here and then hit this store with hopefully a little bit more money. Yeah, that seems good to me. There's some merit to going to multiple stores so I can have multiple shots at a Malaise. Maybe that's better because we're not going to have enough money. And we're not going to have enough money for a relic, and we've already got the relic we need. And I guess I can remove a card and then add a strike or something. Yeah, all right. So I've talked myself into 3 fights, though. Man, I just don't want 3 early. I guess I get 3 fights this way. I'm really just trading a question mark for a shop. Yeah, okay. Whatever. All right, so... Is it worth it to burst Bouncing Flask and just sort of YOLO tank this? It might be. I really... Yeah, let's do it. Oh, spread nice and evenly. Having these guys steal your money is not what I'm after, so... Alright. Yeah, just have them dead on turn 2. No big deal. Alright. So I don't really want another Catalyst. I think this is the big mistake some people make with Poison is like, I just gotta take all the powerful Poison combo cards. You don't. And you're generally having another Catalyst in your deck. So it's not terrible to take a Catalyst in this deck where we have so many Poison cards. It's not bad, but when your first 2 Poison cards drawn are Catalyst, it's abysmal for hallway fights. It's just not necessary. When I'm applying Poison, I'm good. I don't need the extra power. So it's really for boss fights, and for boss fights, how many times do I need to Catalyst them once I've upgraded it to win? It's just I'm adding cards in my deck, but I'm not necessarily adding power. And same with Deadly Poison. I don't need 5 of them. I know I nightmared this in my previous Silent Run to beat the boss, but bosses are a totally different strategy than hallway fights, and you just don't need a lot of this effect. I'd rather have another leg sweep before I'd have another Deadly Poison. I just think I skipped this. My deck's doing what it wants to do well enough as is. Alright, so here's a great backflip early. Maybe I can hit. Alright, that seems good. How's 25 poison on turn 1? How's that suit you? Alright, so... pretty easy fight here. I mean, I could have used an Ancient Potion, but our opening hand was so strong, I didn't see a reason to. Here's an actual interesting thing. So we're going to take one elite fight, we're pretty sure, with this path we're taking with lots of fires. And of the elite battles, Dagger Spray is going to be great in 2 of the 3, and in, you know, one of them it's going to be whatever, an upgraded attack. I've got the Duvu Doll, and like I said, this is already going to crush bosses, I think. I really just want defensive cards, card draw, and AoE damage. So I'd much rather this I'm going to take the Dagger Spray first. I would much rather this be the one that exhausts. That's what I really want, is area effect damage to exhaust, so I can use it, clear out some early minions, and then be done with it and get to the meat and potatoes of what my deck's trying to do. But even without that, I'm still going to take it, you know. And we're looking for Malaise, which we don't see. I think this is just a remove a strike. I don't need... Leg Sweep's fine. I don't want to pay a ton for it. Certainly don't want Quick Slash, so we'll just get rid of the worst card in our deck, which is our basic strike. Alright, let's see if we can draw some poison. No. That damage is not the worst. You know what? I'm going to use the Ancient. This is a fight where, like, maybe it will go fine, but also it could go terribly, and I'd just rather that not happen. Apply a million weakness on this guy. Let's see. So this defends for 5, but all right. Easy. Easy. All right. None of these seem very good. I don't really like Distraction. I think the Ironclad version where it gives you an attack is much better. Turns out. Ooh, the Joust. So here's... So we have to make a bet on one of these two. So if we win 100 gold... I took the safe option last time and got punished by it, but, you know, don't have to worry about it. So we take 100 gold. We're going to have plenty. The problem is if we lose, we're not going to have enough to buy Malaise, and I really want a Malaise if I can find one. So I'm going to take the safe option again. 250 would give me 340, but losing this is really bad. It would be quite unlucky because it doesn't give me, even though this gives you a better payout for money, you know. But not having enough money to buy Malaise, I think, is a bigger disaster than the upside of getting whatever relic is offered to us that, you know, maybe we still can't afford it. Well, with 340, we'd probably be able to buy any relic, but there's no guarantee that a good relic's going to be on offer. And like I said, I really want to have my best shot at Malaise. All right, well, won the bet, so... Come on, Malaise. No, but we got a Well-Laid Plans, and that's almost as good. It's on sale. We'd have gotten it almost regard. I think it would have been $1 over if we'd lost the gambles, so I feel a little bit good about that. Well-Laid Plans, making Catalyst a lot better. I would probably actually buy Secret Technique. Ooh, I don't have enough money for the card removal. That's okay. I was going to just remove a strike. I don't think there's anything. Can't buy potions, or I'd buy probably a regen potion and heal up a bit. I don't need Escape Plan in this deck, certainly. It's skill heavy, but it's just not... You know, if I were offered it, I'm not gonna spend the money on it, but I would probably take an Escape Plan, certainly an upgraded one in a skill deck, just because it's actually still quite good with Burst, which is, I think, the card I'm going to upgrade, because upgraded Burst is fantastic, especially at 4 energy. And we've got a lot of... Who do I want to put this deadly poison on, I guess, is the big question. I guess, actually... Maybe this is correct. Like, first backflip. I think I'm going to retain the footwork since... gonna be better long term. Just thinking about how quickly can I get this guy dead. Let's see, 23, so I need to do, this is 10, 7, so that should be enough. This guy is just, if you're gonna die from a hallway fight, it's probably gonna be, alright, get out of here, bird. Not too bad. Didn't take much damage, and this is definitely the hardest hallway fight there is. So, probably, I think, probably harder than some act bosses, really, because just Hex, especially a silent Hex, is such a problem. If I hadn't used my Ancient Potion in the previous act, I would have definitely used it there. Alright, can't use the Energy Potion. Another After Image or an Expertise. Way too late in the game to want Slice. Expertise is interesting. So we're not really using all of our energy per turn. If we'd have taken Bullet Time Expertise is so good. Really just this is just a super powerful card draw effect, but you really want ways like Concentrate to like build up energy and use a bunch of cards in your hand and then play Expertise with 1 or 2 cards remaining and get a full hand again. Whereas I could just take After Image and it's just very solid all the time, although we're getting a little power heavy. The Awakened one was nerfed in this past patch, so powers are less of a problem. That being said, it's a defensive power, and we're going against a boss where that's useful. I think I'm going to take After Image. I don't know that I need Expertise. I'd probably rather just more stuff like Backflip. We're not, if we had Concentrates or something, I like this card quite a bit. We don't have Setup. We don't have any of the cards. Which I like running the setup, you know, the card that lets you put a card on top of your deck. So setup makes you lose cards but gain energy or tempo in your next turn. And Expertise is drawing you a bunch of cards using energy. So the more cards you can throw away, and then Expertise, you sort of get it back, and Expertise setup is just such an excellent combo. Take After Image. Alright, take Lantern, more energy. And then I think now it's time to upgrade Dagger Spray. A lot of people would probably upgrade Catalyst here. I don't need Catalyst versus the easier hallway fights. The easier hallway fights being the Book. I think we're well set up to fight Stabby Book even without Malaise. But versus the difficult boss, I can always just upgrade Catalyst here. Versus the hallway fights or the elite I'm about to fight, I really want Dagger Spray. I want it to take out either the slavers as quickly as possible or the ads from the whatever this guy. Yeah, this guy, Gremlin Leader. And we just luck right into it right away. All right, so. Alright, so I guess I backflip here, so I've got enough energy to do everything. Fight's going pretty well to plan, but, you know, we did kind of, alright, well. Not really. It might have been better to not play the other card I played first there. I really wanted to not take a ton of damage here. I don't know that I played that one perfectly. Probably should have just not played the footwork, or whatever it was I did that. Alright, well here we just want to defend as much as possible, I think. So we're at 30 defense, and these guys are dying, so I guess there's no reason not to strike. Can only hold on to one card, otherwise I would have held on to both of these dagger sprays. Unfortunately, I can't kill him. It doesn't matter. Not too bad. I think this and the Slaver fight were definitely the hardest fights for us. I don't know which one we would have been better off at. Probably would have taken more damage from the Slavers, so we're probably pretty on point. Ooh, here's the setup I was talking about. If this were upgraded, I'd take it. I don't know that unupgraded I want it. I don't even know. I really want stuff like Prepared to cycle through my deck. I don't necessarily want to spend energy on Acrobatics. I just don't know that that's helping me all that much. We've got tons of heavy cards to spend our energy on. We're not, like, ending a lot of turns with excess energy. So I don't know that that I actually want any of these. I think I'm just going to skip them. But if I was close to taking anything, I would take Acrobatics. I would take Upgraded either of these, I think, but Unupgraded, I'm not that excited. I don't want to waste a Campfire getting set up going without the companion thing that I don't have. Hey, this is the guy we wanted Malaise for. Let's see, backflip. Bronze Scale's doing some work, and this is what I was talking about with, you know, it's a double defend here, but I think Burst is just fine even when you don't have sick combos with it. Alright, well, I don't need to worry about anything else. Not bad. Maybe we just don't need that Malaise. Alright, here's the Prepared I was looking for. I think Prepared's still, I mean, now I wish I had had card draw, right? If I knew I was getting Prepared. I think it's still quite good here. We have the after images. We want to find our powers. And then, you know, card selection is just so important when you have a bunch of mediocre cards in your deck and then a bunch of great cards you really want to get to. It's just very valuable to be able to get to them consistently. I'm not going to upgrade Prepared right now. I think Well-Laid Plans is probably the, well, so we've got the boss coming up. Maybe it's actually time to rest. Champ is no joke, and I don't know what this hallway fight's going to be, and I'm rather would rest here and know if I take a ton of damage that I can rest again. So I'm at 19. Alright. This Frail here is super annoying. I think I definitely catalysting you. I guess I want to do it this way so I can hold on to Leg Sweep and use that if necessary. See how much this heals. So the reason I'm holding on to this Bouncing Flask here is it's of questionable value to Bouncing Flask before I get the other one dead. I don't want it to bounce on the enemy who's dying anyways. If I had the Specimen or something, it might be worth it, but let's see. And this fight's completely over. Going pretty well. I mean, we've had some good luck with our deck here, and none of these are any good for us, so we're going to pass. And then, I was talking about it before, definitely want to upgrade Catalyst now. It's specifically good versus a boss like the Champ, where you're trying to totally skip one phase. And I'll show you the strategy you want when you're Poison versus the Champ here. So he starts at 440 hit points. When he hits 220, he will, it's either 220 or 219, I don't know exactly. I think it's 220. But he'll go and he'll, like, enrage. And so the turn after he hits that, so when he starts the turn, he checks his hit points. He's got that much. He'll then buff up. He'll clear all his poison. He'll clear all of his debuffs. And he'll, like, get a ton of damage. And then the next turn, he will execute. So he'll always do that. So if you Catalyst for enough, if you can get, 80, 90 poison on him before then, or even 70, and you can catalyst him, you can just totally kill him. It doesn't matter that he's clearing his status because he's dead. So that's what we're going to try and do. So actually, this isn't an error. I'm purposefully not striking because I don't want to damage him a ton in this phase. I want to stack poison on him. That's my goal. So again, this is not, this is intentional. I'm not like, these aren't misplays. These are carefully considered plays. All right, so if I, is it better? How much damage is worth taking? I think I'm gonna do it this way. Still not at 19. I really don't want to take a ton of damage in this fight. I'm debating just like burst defending and holding on to. Yeah, I think I'm going to do that. Obviously I wanted the burst bouncing flash. Oops, can I hold? Did I upgrade well-laid plans? No, retain one card. Good. I'm going to hold on to neutralize instead of spew at this turn because I want him to be weakened when he's attacking me. I don't care about... let's see what this does. Nothing. As you can see, we're just sort of... going along here, not doing a ton of damage to him, just building up the poison, and it's all to make this happen. All right, bouncing flask, perfect. So now I don't think I'm going to cycle through my whole deck before I catalyst, so I'm going to hold on to... Oh, I might have. We really want to put a burst catalyst on him. It'll pretty much just kill him. I think... Is that right? So if I burst catalyst, it's tripling 50. Yeah, it's... So there we go. And then, you do whatever. It doesn't matter. But... So we had like a game plan for this fight, and it was... do as little damage and stack as much poison as you can, because he's not, you saw, he's not that dangerous in phase 1. Where he's, and wow, we did it right at 224, right before he was going to break soon anyway, but he's not that dangerous in phase 1, so, getting like extra neutralized damage in, it's just not worth it to like dagger spray him and get him down early when I have a plan that's poison. And the same would be true if I had a Shiv deck with like Kunai where I can build up defense. I'm not going to do big, powerful attacks that aren't going to proc my Kunai every turn or whatever. I'm trying, you have to sort of play the boss. And this boss wants you to... So, I was talking earlier about, like, the beauty of dagger spray and, like, how good it is at hallway fights. And Glass Knife's the same. It's a little late for Glass Knife. I still think it's going to be good enough to take and just have a very damaging attack that we can just sort of like alpha down those annoying little orbs you fight. Both the little ones and the big ones, I guess. Alright, so we've got Philosopher's Stone, Calling Bell, some Duvu Doll synergy, and Orrery, which is probably the correct pick. So, first, Philosopher's Stone is pretty decent, for Act 3. The Act 2 hallway fights are more dangerous. The Act 3 elites, they don't get a big buff out of Philosopher's Stone because at worst you're fighting the 2 enemies, not 3 enemies at a time like you would in Act 2 here. Depending, versus Donu Deka, they're buffing every turn anyways. This only puts them 1 turn ahead. Versus the Awakened one, he buffs himself again. It's like playing one power, but you get you get energy every turn. So it's very good versus the different bosses. It's one cycle through with Time Eater. I don't like this at the end of Act 1. Versus at the end of Act 2, it might be worth it, but set up some with something like After Image. The more energy we have, the more defense and cards we can play. It might actually be worth it. On the other hand, it makes certain hallway fights that we might struggle against, the 3 regenerating guys, it does make them tougher. So I don't know that whether it's correct or not to take this. I think Calling Bell's wrong. You can just get some really nasty, like 3 normalities, and I can just end my run. Even though if I was a Shiv deck and the strength was really worth it, I might take it for fun. Or if I was just messing around and not trying to beat the run, take this. But I think just looking at cards and looking for something powerful like Malaise or another card that synergizes some more defensive cards or card draw is probably worth it. Maybe we'll get an Adrenaline. So taking Orrery. So we've got Calculated Gamble, Bane, Dagger Throw. I don't think we want Bane. We don't need more single target damage. Calculated Gamble, not necessary. Cloak and Dagger, I'm going to take this. Just more defensive cards that are good. Another Footwork. Might take that. I don't know if I want another... Noxious Fumes. There we go. And then do I want Footwork? So I've already got 1 Footwork plus I got 2 After Images. I think I have enough defensive powers that I can skip all of this. And it's another thing is we're at 29 cards. We're probably, if we're getting shops, we're going to really just prioritize getting rid of our strikes here because they're not helping us. You don't need to bloat your deck. Our deck does enough to win. So putting cards in that aren't something like Adrenaline where it just draws you more cards and exhaust isn't necessary. And we got Time Eater, so I'm glad I did not take the Footwork. Even if we've got lots of powers. Noxious Fumes isn't great versus Time Eater. It's acceptable. So we're definitely going to hit this shop. Definitely going to want to hit this shop. We got 2 fire. Yeah. It's not... Taking elites is not bad. But I'd rather have a shop right before Time Eater. And I get an extra shop here. I get a bunch of campfires here. There's just no question. We're going to skip elites, even though I think this deck's definitely strong enough to handle them. It just, that's how the map worked out. Let's see. Against these, you really want to try and take out the minions every turn if you can. Not getting burns into my deck has a lot of value for me. More value than just random extra damage on this guy, I think. Wow, almost all the bounces on the one I didn't want it on, huh? Maybe it was not the best choice of plays. All right. Maybe I should have drawn first. Do I have well-laid plans active? I do not. All right. Guess it doesn't matter. Not too bad. Can't pick that up. All right, so Piercing Whale is actually fine versus the Awakened one. It's quite good. So I'm going to take that. Don't need another Bouncing Flask. It's also good versus these hallway fights if I can draw it. Get some damage on these guys who we're going to block up next turn. Alright. Awful lot of damage coming in. Not a lot of mitigation in this hand, unfortunately. So let's see. I can Dagger Spray, Glass Knife, kill you, and I think I'm going to use my Weakened Potion here and save some health. My last potion of the run, but that's fine. Oh, I thought he was dying. That was an error. Oh, come on. That's terrible. So this is... He's dying. He's not. Now they're both dying. Alright. Do I want another cloak and dagger versus an escape plan? How skill heavy am I? Reasonably skill heavy. And it's not really bloating my deck, and I know I mean, versus the Awakened one. Skills are the name of the game, so I think I'm going to take the escape plan here. Gonna burst escape plan and hope I can draw, yeah, some deadly poison to burst. That's perfect. More damage than I wanted to take this fight, but... Alright, so Doppelganger is okay. If you have turns where you can't do anything, it's solid. I really only want it if it's upgraded. Might take upgraded Deflect. That's... With all these after images, I think that's going to be good enough. Just extra solid blocking card. As you can see, we don't always have enough block, and we're kind of low on hit points. We have to take 2 fights before we can get to this. I'm a little bit worried. It's definitely... This guy isn't too tough, thankfully. I'm going to save this just so I can block on this next turn. I think I'm going to hold on to Piercing Wail, because I'm more worried about a big multi-attack or something. I think Leg Sweep. Still going to hold on to the Piercing Wail. Getting, yeah, the weakness in. Perfect. Catalyst, Footwork, Defend, hold on to a Footwork. So we really just need to get one more fight out of the way and then rest up, and we should be okay, but... Alright, get out of here. Yeah, I think I'm going to take a Cloak and Dagger just so I can have more defensive options versus this fight. We just really need to get one more fight, and we're good. Oh, God. Alright, well, so... After Image. This is not a fight where we can just sit around and delay, unfortunately. But I definitely want to After Image. I think... So I'm taking 18. So that's gonna get rid of it next turn. Yeah, this is gonna be a challenge. I'm definitely worried. So weakness you. Am I dead? 16 and 9. Yeah. I know. I think I'm still okay. I'm not quite dead yet. Nope. Nope. That's the end. All right. Well, we had a rough run. We didn't get the dagger sprays that we wanted. So I guess that was Was there an earlier campfire? No, I think all the campfires were on this level, so we played it as defensively as we could and just got a bunch of brutal fights that just did not mesh well with our deck. Some unfortunate draws, and we were defeated, despite, I think, a solid deck. I don't think Philosopher's Stone would have made that any easier. Yeah. I mean, there wasn't too much. I think the deck was very good. I think it was really just a issue of bad draws. I mean, we went very defensive. We just didn't get... We got the worst fights and the worst luck in the fights. You know, we started opening hand versus like triple attacking guys without a lot of defense. Just got chipped to death, even though I think we played it pretty well. So that's Ascension 15 for you. I think you can play pretty conservatively and well and still get beaten by the game. Maybe I'll do another run after this, but kind of hate going out on a loss. But I'm definitely going to stop this recording. And, all right. Hope that was somewhat informative. Trying to, like, do a post-mortem here. Whoop. But I don't know. Yeah, it's just we started with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Five enemy fights before the boss. And... all of them were difficult. we had to fight 2 upgraded enemy encounters because they start getting upgraded at 3. 2 upgraded enemy encounters before we got to our first rest site, which I guess was... We didn't know that the question marks on our path were going to be fights. Yeah. All right, well, it's a good attempt, and maybe next time we'll actually be able to slay the Spire. Thanks for watching.